I think this has a chance of like getting like multiple Emmy nominations, including maybe one for yourself.
That's so freaky to think of. Um, Obviously, it's a good thing, but it's like, whoa. Thank you. Yeah, it's been crazy for us, I think. Especially because we were shooting when it was coming out. And so none of us got a chance to like actually pay attention to what people were saying about it until we were done. And then it was like, oh, what's happening to my phone? Um, yeah, it's kind of nuts.
I'll start with a softball easy question. Were you a fan of medical dramas prior to being part of the pit?
No, I'm squeamish. Well, I should say I was squeamish. Now I've a few have come on and I'm like, yeah, I can watch this now. But yeah, no, I was like, oh, why would I put myself through like seeing a lot of blood? Which is just hilarious. I was so scared when I got cast on this. I'm like, I don't want to pass out while we're filming. I don't want to have an anxiety attack. But yeah, I kind of figured out a system to prevent that, and then it's been so far so good.
Do you remember what scene you auditioned for?
I don't remember the first one because that was a self tape,
Okay.
and like a bunch of time passed, and then it was I heard there was a callback, and then when I got there, it was like, well, it's a producer session. I was like, oh, sure, yep, that's fine. And then going into a room with Noah, Scott, and John, and just being like, yeah, that's all of them. Okay, deep breath, and then just kind of be like, I don't know, let's just try.
You are the fan favorite of the show, and people have taken several clips of you and put them all over social media and TikTok as again, you're very well aware at this point.
I don't have a TikTok, and I'm terrible with social media, but every once in a while, mainly my mom will send me something. And she'll be like, look at this video of just you a bunch of times. And it's like, oh my God, someone did that.
How does that feel knowing that you are part of something that has hit the cultural zeitgeist, so to speak?
I I think when you're doing any project, you're just hoping it connects with people at some level, at some point, anything you do. And so I think we're all very surprised about how this kind of took off. Um, but I think it was just, yeah, you're always hoping you're connecting with someone or telling the story in a way that more people can see it and understand it and like it and whatever it is. And so I think it was just kind of, I don't know, lightning in a bottle.
I think it's true. I think, and I think what's going to happen is that now with the success of this, there's going to be numerous networks that are going to try to copy it and
Oh,
see if they're going to be like gonna hit this level and they're not going to, and then they're gonna be like, why didn't it work? And it's like you just said, because it's lightning in a bottle. I don't think anyone expected this, and I think that's why it works, because sometimes you just need a breath of fresh air, and I think that's what this show is.
and I think the reasons for this story that John Scott and Noah have mapped out are so not TV film. They're so wholesome and with the entire country in mind. Of they're like, we need to show how hard it is. It wasn't like, "Whoa, this might make money for us." It was entirely about post COVID and how hard of a hit the healthcare system has had. How many people have quit? How much of a backup there is, and how our horrible insurance situation is. And there's just people in hallways that are supposed to go to a different place, and they just can't staff it. Where they can staff it, they just choose not to. And that all of that was the frustration that became the show. I think is different because it wasn't aiming at any kind of success as much as it was just like, let's do something hyper realistic and show the problem.
I want you to talk a little bit about that scene with the neurodivergent patient.
Oh yeah, Kobe Bird is the actor playing Terrence, and I mean, like we're both neurodivergent. We're both on the now shared spectrum of ADHD autism, which is ADHD is what it's called. And so I think what was nice was how easy it was for us to talk to each other and swap stories and just, I think the episode was very well researched. I think Val did an amazing job writing it. And it was nice to show, not tell, I think, which is, writing 101 is if you could show it and not have to like have a narrator say it or something like that, then you've done it. And so I think it was just a really special moment for Mel because of how comfortable she is in that situation too.
It's been kind of surreal over the last couple of years. I'm also neurodivergent, and and it's and
Hey,
and it's weird because unlike other disabilities, it's so hard to put people like in like I don't know like we work in an industry, a very weird industry where they love putting people in boxes. And I feel like it's very difficult to understand someone with our condition because it's not one size fits all. And there's different levels and we all have different ways. Like some of us are like super duper smart, but like we fail in social situations. Like there's a lot of elements to it. And it's been weird for me over the last couple of years. I mean, I'm going back to like TV shows like As We See It, obviously Bella on The Last of Us, yourself, like, and even like The Accountant in certain degrees. Like, it's weird now how there's become this influx of stories about this. And I'm just curious from one person to another, like, why do you think that is? Why do you think this has become a thing now that like networks and studios are like, oh, we should focus on these characters?
I don't know what it is in the zeitgeist, but there is this thing that is like I think odd for all of us, where it's like it's hip to be different, and you're like, really? That's not what my whole life has been. But you're saying this is a cool thing now? All right. And then, of course, like in the actual practice, it's like, oh, you still don't like it or get it, but that's fine. At least you think it's cool as a theory, which is bizarre for sure. I think for us, it's kind of like, why are you guys into this all of a sudden? But then you're also, it's maybe not like the realism of your actual friends, but it is like watching it that's interesting. It is really strange. I think the thing is when I was diagnosed really really young, and something they do is they give you a pamphlet of everyone who's like you. Um, and so I got this pamphlet, which by the way is like every actor, every actor for everything there is. And I think there has never been a shortage of neurodiversity in this industry. It's like the place where we go. And I think it's just so interesting how many of us there are, and how for the first time it's like, what if we talk about that and actually have other people see that? But it is weird how it's like hip now, and it's just kind of like, wow, where were you in middle school?
I have you seen the shirts? There's actually a whole line of this, by the way. I'm not making it up. There's literally there's shirts now that it's like I had autism before it was cool.
Fantastic! I want that. That's great.
I was like, this is crazy that this actually exists. Oh my God. But it's so true. Like I just feel like but it's such our again, it's such our society. Like we cash in on things. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, here we go. We can do this. What? We want to talk about this now? I mean, it's just like every like how we have a month for everything so we can merchandise it, so we can sell stuff.
Oh, June at Target and all the other companies that you're like, I don't think you're really on our side here, but that's all right.
Oh, okay. So going back to the show, sorry, we went on a tangent, but I think
That's
that's good.
great.
That's good. That's good. The the show is obviously very much praised for being so accurate. And because of that, I have to know, like, how much research did you personally do? What was it like on set? Is it like someone who comes in and it breaks down every scene? Like, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's actually a really smart system that was implemented like from the get. There was no that we were explained how it would work in boot camp. And what it is the director steps out and then a doctor comes in. And so all trauma scenes are done by a doctor, all the blocking, every part of it. The director doesn't even get like a say. They might go, is it okay? Can they go on this side? And they'll go, yeah, hold on. And like step out again and let me rearrange all of this so that if you want it on that side, we can. But it's always done by the doctor, which is totally different, obviously, and is already makes things, realism is the priority and accuracy is the priority. And so, um, yeah. And then we also, because we have doctors, we have real nurses and PA, and we're always there's PA, physician's assistant, which we should, otherwise PA in show business. Um, and so we always have something. Sometimes the doctor will be like, "All right, you're at the head of the bed at the gurney over here," and then because I'll have a real nurse next to me, I'll go, "What can I be doing up here that makes sense?" While they're directing the other stuff, and so it's only medically directed, um,
Wow.
which is incredible, and it's why it's different for sure.
Wow. Yeah,
And the
that's
director might
nuts.
even come in and be like, "Can I have them over there?" And it's like, "Yeah, that makes no medical sense." It's like, "Oh, okay, never mind." And like that's just how it's done. Yeah,
You talk about detailed. That's detailed. Wow.
yeah, it's crazy detailed. So we learn every single time. We learned a bunch of stuff at boot camp, a lot of shorthand. So we an EFAST is an ultrasound, and it's specific areas. And once we all learned that in boot camp, we don't have to go over it again. And so the doctor will come in and be like, Mel's doing the EFAST. Over here, you're doing that. And we know what all of them mean. So we don't have to get clarification. And then every once in a while, it'll be like, you're over there. And then we just have a nurse to ask for ourselves. And everything is built on reality, no matter what. It's like, I'm supposed to be here. And they're like, all right, what could work for you? And they'll find something that makes sense. And yeah, it's completely different than I think probably every other medical show ever.
Kind of going off of that a little bit, given the realism of this, and obviously the realism of everyone's performance in this. I've kind of watched a lot of interviews with some of your co-stars, basically having a lot of people come up to them, telling them stories about how much the show has meant to them and whatnot. So my question for you ultimately comes back to, and this is maybe a little bit of a loaded question, but is there a particular moment or scene that really stood out to you of the entire first season, like that you had either so much difficulty with, or was just like you were surprised by how easy you got that, like a kind of like a one or two take kind of thing, and you just had it perfectly?
There are times in which it's just kind of like, I'm so glad that was on camera. I can't believe I did that right away. It was so funny to see the edit because with the Crike, we had a real, um, like the most amazing makeup that had layers of skin, and I did a correct Crike, and it had to be one shot because once you break that prosthetic and you open it up and peel it apart and do all of the things, it's like you're done. That's it. And so it was like I had a real scalpel in my hand, and it was a real person that had a ceramic base and then the prosthetic on top, and having to do every single part of the crate correctly because you only have one shot. And I was so proud because I did it, and everyone, like all the doctors, were like, "Yeah, yeah, you got that," and it was so great. And then I see the edit, and they didn't put it in. I was just like, I did a perfect crank.
That's gotta be heartbreaking. You watch it, you're just like, where is this? I was so proud of this moment.
with all the anxiety around it and like nailing it. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't know, maybe we should like release that footage at some point, just kind of show it.
Well, I mean, they have started on some of these platforms to actually have like kind of deleted scenes. So, I mean,
Really?
also, what a great, yeah, I mean, I've seen them on some of the streaming platforms where they have extended versions or extended
Oh, cool.
scenes and stuff like that. Hey, especially with how popular the show is. I mean, at this point, like, we were joking about milking it, but come on, like, this is like stuff that people would want. Like, release it online then, put it on YouTube. Come on.
Yeah, yeah.
If you have never seen an episode of The Pit and you were to recommend an episode from the first season to sort of get them into it, is there a particular one that you would say is a standout moment or a standout episode?
There are a lot of good ones. I mean, 8 obviously is the heaviest,
Yeah.
with the drowning. I really love 9, uh, which is actually Noah wrote that episode, because I've never seen a recovery episode. Usually it's, a few days later and we're past it. And they might have like 3 seconds at the end of the recovery of whatever traumatic event, but they never have a whole episode dedicated to everyone trying to get back on track and everyone feeling it. And, I mean, even though Langdon wasn't in the room, he's calling his son, just needs to hear his son's voice. Mel's self-soothing as much as possible, and everyone is off doing their thing, just kind of breathing and getting ready for the next. Which, having talked to all the medical professionals that are constantly around us, uh, I asked specifically about children, and they were like, "Yeah, everyone has to take time afterwards. It's an unspoken like rule that it's like, all right, go to the break room, wash your face off in the bathroom, just take a second, go for a walk around the block really quick." Um, and I think to have a whole episode dedicated to that aspect was so unique, but it also got to show the weight that everyone feels. And, especially because you'll see something on TV and it's this mass casualty event and it's the worst of the worst. Like children, everyone is gone and it's just awful. And then but they still have this like heroic, we have to stay like this, and it's just not realistic.
But I think also the way that the show is set up is kind of like by hour. It's sort of, for what you were just talking about with kind of recovery and whatnot, like, I don't feel like they have any choice. Like, I feel like they have to, like, dive into that because of the way that this is set up. It's like, okay, you can't just move on. And I think that's what the problem is with a lot of the medical shows in general, is that they're sort of like, okay, we're going home at the end of the day. Like, it's very, like, okay, here's a day, but then there's another day and another day. Like it's not filmed over the course of a day like this show is. So I think that's what also gives it that sense, and I think that's where a lot of the fascination comes from. It's like you feel like you're in the doctors, in the hospital for an
In the trench.
entire day.
Yeah, I think whenever someone's like, I binged it, I'm like, oh my God, how did you do that to your body? Like, I don't know. Watching one episode is like, oh, okay, tachycardic now, I gotta lay down. And to actually put yourself through 15 binge of such high intensity. It's just incredibly anxiety provoking, and I think what they do a great job doing is you are exhausted after each episode. You're exhausted, and I think that it's so purposeful because it's like it gives you a real idea of like, oh my God, doctors are exhausted all the time. Nurses and doctors take care of everyone, and especially nurses, and then they have to keep going and they barely get any time to rest before they have to come in again. And it's just like, I think it really makes you see the burnout in a way, which I know that was one of the things they wanted to show is like, oh, you need to know how hard this is so that, hopefully the next time hopefully you're not in an emergency room, but if you're in the waiting room and you're not going to be a Doug Driscoll, And it's just kind of like, oh, actually, I know what happens behind those doors now. So it's just like, well, it's just a lot. Yeah, anyone who binges, I literally usually I'm like, are you crazy?
It's not a comedy, it's not Hacks, it's not The Studio. Like I can keep clicking it. They're also shorter and like, fun to watch. Like this is sort of like, okay, I need to get up,
Yeah,
move around the house. Maybe I'll come back and visit this in a couple of hours, probably 2 or 3 days from now.
I have to say, like the once a week thing, boy, does that work for this show.
Yes,
Man, it's way too much otherwise. And I
I
feel
agree.
like that what a great to also to be able to bring that back to be part of that is so cool because it's I'm sorry but the very small amount of things I actually see online is like what am I supposed to do with Thursdays anymore, and it's like yes but that's what's so great is if the show's not airing anymore and it's Thursday and you're like I used to schedule my whole day around watching the Pit at night and like all of that is well it's fantastic, it's gold, it's exactly what you want.
Oh, for sure. And I think that's also why the show generated buzz the way it does. And I think that's what networks are slowly learning again is that, that water cooler conversation. It's very important to have the week to week episodes. And I mean, HBO, to their credit, was the ones that really started doing that early on with Sex and the City, Sopranos. Like, those were things that you always heard about. Like, whether I was at school or work, it's like on Sunday going into Monday, you knew there was going to be a conversation about it. And I think we need to get back to that more and more. Is it a mental health thing while you stay off the internet?
Oh, no, it's an ADHD thing.
Okay.
I genuinely forget I have a phone for long periods of time. My mom, I live alone now, but my mom would just call my roommates instead of calling me because she knew I don't know where my phone is usually. Um, it's ridiculous. So I'll go out, I'll have a whole day and go, "Oh, I don't have that on me. But it doesn't bug me because I'm not on it all the time. And I got an old one. I got with the button still. Oh yeah, it's it, I'm just not on it. It's I get obviously I get bored pretty quick, and
Yeah.
so that one just it just doesn't hold my attention long enough for me to even remember to put it on my body.
That's got to be really freeing. I mean, I
It,
also tend to
yeah,
forget things quite a bit. It's, it's probably one of the things that, I get reminded of a lot. You forget this, you
everywhere
forget that.
I go, I came in here for a reason. Just every time.
Oh my God. All right. Well, I know you probably have to run. You probably have more interviews. So I'll end on this note. It's something we ask every single person. There's going to be a whole little video that we're going to put together with probably about like 400 people answering this question. Um, what television show or performance on a television show this season do you think deserves awards buzz?
Oh, I definitely think Dr. Robbie's breakdown. I also don't. I haven't watched much of anything. Um, so that
That's odd, but that's very
let me
honest.
think of the one show I've actually seen. That and also I the only other show I've been watching and loving is The Studio. It's so fun and it is the same kind of anxiety, but a sillier anxiety. But no, I do think that Dr. Robbie's breakdown in the makeshift morgue is kind of like, well, that's ridiculous acting wise. Just like, okay, just be really good or something, whatever.
Well, listen, I hope you feel better. I'm sorry you're gonna miss out tonight, and I'm sure you'll be around a lot, and you'll be hearing your name pop up probably more than that you secretly want, but the anxiety might not allow you to appreciate.
Yeah, I feel that.
All right, have a great
All
one.
right,
Very nice talking to you.
you, thank you.
All right, take care.